what's your favorite area to remove? Do you have a favorite area?
I like doing brows.
Why?
I feel it's just like satisfying. I don't know. Just while like when they come back and I'm like, yes, you know, like you just notice the change. And of course, take your pictures. Everyone like take your pictures because people come back and like, I don't see a difference. Of course you don't see a difference. You're looking at yourself every day and it's such a minor change over time.
Right.
That like they're not going to notice until you side by side those photos. And then they're like, oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Okay. I see it. You know? And I think, I don't know, that part to me is like, it's just really satisfying.
Yeah. It's super satisfying. I think I probably like brows the most too. Small tattoos. I really like removing a lip liner too.
I've only done 2 lip liners.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something I see really often. Think I'm gonna do mine next. Actually, I got a little coral in there. It's real pretty.
Well, lip liner used to be popular, and I tattooed my fair share of lip liners. I ain't gonna lie. You know, I've been doing this 22 years. So 22 years ago, people were still like digging on Pamela Anderson and the whole lip liner and skinny brows. But which I do predict. That's going to come back. I think it's going to come back. Well, everything's like full circle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now.
Let's just not get too skinny with them.
Well, okay. So before Pamela Anderson was Twiggy. So everybody can Google her. She was a model from the 60s. You remember Twiggy?
Of course.
So she had the skinny brow.
Yeah.
And then skinny brows kind of went away.
Yep.
Until the 80s.
80s. They came
when
back bushy.
And then Pamela Anderson hit Baywatch and she adorned the skinny brow.
Yeah. That's right.
And that's what a ton of my clients were asking for back then. I'll tell you what, it is way harder to tattoo like a skinny brow, like a brow that's like 4 millimeters in diameter. It's so hard.
Precise. You're just like,
because you can't do circle. Like it's like, like how do you move your needle? Like, you know, it's like you have to like go to a liner and you got to do these tight little circles, or there's just not a lot of wiggle room. Like, like your both borders.
You're at the end.
You're at the edge of both borders, right? There's no moving from border to border like the size brows we do now. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm on the edge of both borders with this brow.
Don't bring them back.
No, but I think like I don't know what it is about lip liners.
Were they?
I don't know if it's
outside. Like
no. Well, some of them were, but a lot of them are just. They're purple or they just were done crooked. The bow is crooked. And a lot of reasons that they're dark, like they're purple or they're bluish. They're just not a pretty color. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because it's the tissue, like in the vermilion area. I've never really, I really don't know why, but lip liners just remove really quick and easy for me. Okay. I've just always got really great results within one to 2 sessions with lip liners. Awesome. Just pulling them out and light. Sometimes I could, last year I did this lip liner. It was like a dark purple and I did 2 sessions on it and it lightened it down and it wasn't badly done, placed. It was just the color was really bad. But after 2 sessions, it removed all the purple and the darkness and it was kind of like this soft pink. Okay. And it ended up being really pretty.
Client was like, client liked it. With it.
Yeah. Right, so we didn't need to go any further with the removal. Yeah. And it was a really pleasant surprise. I wasn't expecting that, but sometimes I have found that happens with eyebrows. You think
what happened with mine.
Right.
So I have nothing on them right now. This is it. There's no like brow mascara or anything. So Tiffany and I did a removal on mine because we were going to do a touch up. Because I haven't had a touch up since 2019.
Okay.
So it's been a minute. All right. I was like, I feel like they could use a freshen up, and maybe a little shape up. And then I was thinking about it and I was like, maybe we should just do a removal. I want to know what it feels like.
Yeah. Did they need to be removed? Or not really? You just want to see what it felt like?
I feel like this side is like, it's not like sharp. There's no like sharp, nice tail. It's like a blob.
Okay.
And a little bit on this side too.
Okay.
They're not lovely anymore.
Okay.
But they're fine.
Right.
They're like, no one's like looking at them like, wow, look at those eyebrows. Like they're fine.
Okay.
So
well, I'm looking at them. They look fine.
They look fine, right?
Yeah.
So this part lightened from the center to maybe about here, and then this darkened.
At first.
For the one that we did, we might do another one just on the tails.
Yes.
Because, as we know, that can happen.
Yeah.
And people see that and
they get nervous.
They're like, what's going on? Like, why is this darker? And then you got to explain, like, it's like a magnet and like, it's coming up. It's coming out. I promise. Yeah. And they're like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, I swear.
Yeah. So let's explain to our people tuning in. Yes. So if once pigment, it's like osmosis, right? So it just draws the pigment up. Yep. And so the salt and whatnot. And if pigment gets to just below the surface, but not this, if pigment reaches the surface in a session, it's going to get caught up in the scab.
Right.
And it's going to scab off, and there it goes.
And it'll go
the
away.
Color.
Right.
But some pigment doesn't reach.
Go all the way up there.
Doesn't go all the way up. Doesn't reach the surface.
Right.
It stops moving upwards just under the surface. Mm-hmm. So when that happens, the pigment can appear darker because there's less skin covering it. It's not down in the dermal area anymore. Right. It's moved up. It's moved upward, close to the surface. So it's appearing darker.
Yep.
So yeah, it doesn't happen with every removal for sure, but it does happen with some. So yeah.
I always found that fascinating.
It is I think removal itself is so fascinating because especially with lift, right? You could just use your PMU machine.
Right.
There's no magnet this or fancy technology it's just nature.
Right.
It's so there's no acids. It's just I don't want to say it's just salt because we spent 2 years, Li and me, sourcing different salts, trying because not all salts are the same.
Mm-hmm.
So and so pick some different salts, paired salts, and then the percentage. What should the percentage of each salt be? And what should the total overall percentage of salt be in that bottle? That was hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Because if it's too strong, you can burn. Salt can burn an open wound, right? And but if it's too weak, then it's not going to be as effective as you would want it to be. So it was finding this perfect strength that was not going to be harmful, not going to burn anybody. Yet get that pigment moving upward and out of the skin. Yeah. So we go over all that on the course, but I find saline removal just in itself, it's just the
science of it really, I think, attracted me to it.
Yeah. Right. Like, it's just so phenomenal. Cool. Like natural science, like just what nature can do, what we can do with natural things found on Earth, without adding can do is just really mind blowing to me.
I think something in the course, I'll never get that image out of my mind when you did. It was like a demo with the potato.
Oh, that's a fantastic.
And I'm like, it was like, bing, it just made sense.
It made sense,
yeah.
Right? Well, I'm somebody when I teach, I like to give analogies.
I love that
because not everybody absorbs knowledge the same way.
Yeah.
And what about the cucumber? That
too.
That's Na Sang, right?
Yeah.
Our girl. So her son was sitting she's a lift trainer. So her son was sitting at the kitchen table with a cucumber and put salt on it.
Mm-hmm.
And water.
The moisture.
All of a sudden there's beads of water on the surface of the cucumber. And he was like, Mom, is this what you mean by...
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she snapped a picture of that photo. I'm like, can I use that in my lift? She's like, yes.
That's awesome.
It's just phenomenal. So that's what we did with lift. Cool. And then of course we threw in some orange seed extract and some lemon seed extract and a little of this and a little of that. All natural ingredients, no chemicals. All right. Fantastic. So brows, your favorite area. Got it.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite area?
Fingers.
Why?
Not that I hate actually doing it, but the healing process of that is just, it's counterproductive because we're always washing our hands. Yeah. It doesn't give it time to properly heal and scab even just the movement of it, not even just the hand washing, but nothing can scab if it's constantly in motion,
when I was, and the same thing for putting in pigment on the hands, like hand tattoos, finger tattoos. When I was in my apprenticeship years ago with Eddie Lynn here at the Skin Factory, he didn't do finger tattoos and hand tattoos. He didn't allow them in his shop.
Really?
Yeah. And of course I asked why. And he said, basically he's just because they heal like shit.
They heal like shit. Yeah.
They heal like shit.
Everyone I know that got one of those mustache, remember that was a thing?
Yeah.
They look like just a squiggly, ugly line on their hand now.
They can get infected because you're right. You're washing them. We do a lot with our fingers and hands, and they're in water a lot. I mean, you gotta
you gotta wash your hands.
Yeah, or you go tinkle.
Right.
Wash your hands. I mean, it's kind of gross if you're not.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree with you. It's not. I do it too. I will remove finger and hand tattoos.
I explain though, like, hey, we might not
the bikini area.
I've never done one there.
I don't enjoy the bikini area.
Well, that gets sweaty.
Yeah.
And
because it's kind of like the same thing with fingers and hands. It's just one of those spots.
And it's moving.
Yeah, and I've done I was a tattoo artist for years, and I put a lot of tattoos. It used to be really popular for girls to get the little
Playboy bunny and the
down on their bikini line, down on their panty line, and and that was the only area where I had complications with tattoos healing was when I would put them down there by the panty line.
Mm-hmm. And clothing's constantly rubbing.
And it can't breathe, right?
Yeah.
It's covered constly, and it's being rubbed on by the edge
elastic
of,
or
by
whatever,
the elastic, the edge of your bloomers.
Your bloomers.
Yeah. So removing a tattoo down in that bikini area, because I've done a couple removals.
Okay.
I did one on a gal, and she was marrying, I don't want to get this wrong. If I do, forgive me in advance, but I do believe it was a Mormon man.
Oh.
And she was not Mormon.
Okay. So no tattoos allowed.
Yeah. So she had a tattoo in her bikini line, and she was going through the removal process in order to move forward with the wedding. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm correct when I say it was the Mormon religion, but I could be wrong with that. But it was a religious-based reason for getting it removed.
Okay.
Yeah. And they just heal slower. And the slower a tattoo heals, or a removal procedure, or the slower any wound heals, the more risk for complication.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I get a little worried about fingers, hands, and the bikini area, but
because I do get asked all the time, like, can you do these on my, inside fingers, on top? I get a lot of too. And I'm like, I mean, we can do what we can do.
Yeah.
But it's a big commitment afterwards. Like, yes, I want you to keep your hands clean, but you really got to kind of limit that movement, because nothing can scab if it's constantly in motion.
No. If I get asked to do like a finger tattoo, or like on the hand now, especially fingers, like I use like LI Pigments Onyx.
Yeah.
And iron oxide. Yeah. So because, black tattoo carbon will stay in the skin for years and years. If pigment stays in the skin too long, especially in some areas, like fingers, it just turns into a blob.
Yeah.
It ends up not looking good. It turns in, and women end up not liking them.
Of course.
They look really good at first, and they can look good for a while.
It's a blobby mess on them.
Yeah, then you got a blobby mess on your finger. So why not tattoo it in with a mineral black, or an organic black?
Mm-hmm.
Then it will fade out
in
5 years. And what I find is, I did a finger tattoo probably 8 years ago with onyx, all inorganic, no carbon, but it's a black. It's a really good black eyeliner. And
I bought that actually.
Yeah,
so I have it ready when I get home.
Yeah, and it took in about 5 years. It lasted about 5 years.
Okay,
and then it just slowly faded out. So
perfect.
No harm, no foul. Yeah.
Not everyone knows that.
No blob there.
No blob there.
No blob there.